Hello guys, Craig from fixitfallows, and as you can see I'm in the garage. Where else would I be? And today I'm with this road bike which is using an Ultegra 12-speed cassette. Now if like me you are pulling your hair out with getting this thing indexed when you know the pain I'm suffering, I'm led to believe that people are also having the same trouble even with Dura-Ace. Some people have bought several Dura-Ace, several Ultegras in order to try and alleviate the problems they're having. And the problem is typically in gear 5. So you manage to index all the other cogs in the cassette range, all running lovely, other than gear 5. And in gear 5, you're pedaling away and you're getting a click, click, a click. Now, I'm going to be taking a look at that today and see whether I can finally get to the bottom of it. I've had a look at a few forums and a few YouTube postings and comments and sifted through a lot of comments, and there's a few recommendations in there that people suggest, but have not been tested out to any degree. So I might be employing a few of those as well. So we're going to see what we can find and finally get this thing running properly as it should. Just as a point of interest, this is running an electronic group set. This is running L2ERX. It's a bit of a left field choice. Most people are running some form of Di2 setup or SRAM or whatever. But if they're running SRAM, they probably won't have a Shimano cassette. So it's typically Di2. And obviously people are spending a lot of money and finding that, it's not running very smooth at all, which can be deeply, deeply frustrating. So anyway, let's have a look. Okay, so what you're about to hear is the chain running on gear 5, and you can hear it snagging every now and again. Okay, now I've slowed down some footage here, and I've indicated by drawing a Sharpie onto a tooth here, as indicated by the red arrow. Now watch as it moves around, and it then interacts with the chain indicated by the yellow arrow. Okay, did you notice how the chain snagged and jolted there? Now I suspect what is happening here is the tolerances between cogs 4, 5 and 6 are too tight, and the chain is being held too close to one or other and causing the snag. Right, so here we have feeler gauges. These are used for measuring gaps, made up of different layers, thicknesses of fingers. Some are extremely thin and they get gradually thinner, and you can add or subtract the number of fingers that you need to get your right thickness. So as you can see, with these fingers placed together, I can place that down safely in between gears 1 and cogs 1 and 2. Nice amount of tolerance there. Likewise with the next one, and so on. Okay, a little bit tighter there, a little bit tighter there, and then when we get to cog number 5, try to get in between, cannot get the fingers down. Okay, it's not consistent all the way around, and it's on cog 5 that we get the poor chain sinking, the poor indexing. The chain just does not want to run, because as it rotates around, every now and again one of the teeth from a cog on either side of number 5 catches on the side of the chain. So there just is not enough space between cog 5 and 6. Okay, you can get it safely in between that one, but not between them. All the others are fine. So there is a problem with Shimano cassettes. So here we are with the large cluster of cogs for the cassette. So as I say, this is Ultegra, but I'm pretty sure it's the same with the Dura-Ace 2. It has a stick-on shim around there on the reverse side, and it isn't stuck on properly central, so you can feel Where is it? Yeah, you can feel a lip there. But not there. So that, because that overhangs in there, it forces this to be off centre ever so slightly. So it doesn't rotate truly round, it rotates oscillating. Okay, so you can feel overhang. Let's try and find where it is. So you overhang there, but not there. So I'm going to take that off and see whether it makes any improvement. So it is just a stuck on ring. You can heat it up a bit and then just put your scalpel underneath and just whip it off like so. So it's a very, you can see it's a very thin shim. Supposedly it's put there to help sound deadening. Well, it's creating a lot of noise. And as a further thing I'm going to do, the ring that I've just taken off from the reverse side of this cassette, I'm going to place it there to create a little bit more of a gap between cog 5 and 6 as it is actually. Right, okay, so I've taken that shim off the back of there. Okay, so we're going to rebuild the cassette without the shim on the back. I don't know about you, but I find these new splines on the new 12 speeds to be a lot more complicated than the old 11 speed ones, trying to find the correct positions. Anyway, I think that's about right, so let's put that on there. Also, yeah, a bit more play I think than there used to be, but anyway, without that stuck incorrectly on the back, the cassette can find its own location rather than this shim dictate it. Right, okay, so the first large piece of the cassette is on. Now I'm going to use that shim that I've just removed and I'm going to put it on now so that I can then put on the second combined section. Okay, let's put that on there. Just so you know, there is a little arrow imprinted on these cogs to indicate where it marries up with the thin spline on the hub. At this point you're going to start putting on these spacers. Now it's the fat one that goes on first. Okay, next cog, got the little arrow triangle there, straight on. Then it's the thin spacer. Now we get into the more like three-dimensional cogs. Again, there's an arrow there. So once you know about the arrow, lining up isn't so much of an issue. It's just spotting the arrows on these smaller ones gets more tricky. I think that's kind of there. Ah, there it is. Like that. Now the very last one has indents, has prongs that has to marry up with this. If you don't get them right, this sits at a wonky angle and then you risk cross threading your lock nut. So it's very important to make sure you get this in place correctly. Okay, make sure it's all lined up. Then the lock ring goes in. Let's get this done up nice and tight. Now apparently it needs 40 to 50 Newton meters. Right, now let's go back to those feeler gauges. Much better. Right, let's get it back on the bike, get the chain back on and see what happens. Well, what do you know, we're now running in gear 5 and it's indexed perfectly, no clicking, nothing. So you need to remove that shim from the rear side of this cassette and use that shim to space between cog 5 and 6, and ensure that you put the thick spacer on first and the thin spacer on last, and you should alleviate your problems with 12-speed Dura-Ace and Ultegra cassettes. Right, okay, well I'm just back from 20 miles on the bike since I've done the tinkering around and fettling with this Ultegra cassette 12-speed. And I'm pleased to report everything is spot on now. So it would seem that taking off that little washer off of the very back of the cassette definitely does help. It allows that collection of 4 or 5 cogs on the back to sit more true on your hub, and therefore if that one sits true, it can sit more true with the other cogs in the cassette range, and then that doesn't affect the distance between each cog because of that aforementioned poor offset. As I said, I moved that washer to be between gear 5 and 6, just to give me a little bit of extra space in there, and that seems to work nicely too. Whether you find you need to do that or not remains to be seen. So yeah, it works for me. Hopefully it'll work for you too. All of a sudden, the large amount of money that I spent on this Ultegra cassette doesn't seem like an absolute waste of money. So there you go. So if you liked it, please give me a thumbs up, and if possible subscribe, and be sure to check out some of my other videos. In the meantime, I'm going to go and have a very strong cup of tea and a bacon sandwich. Cheers guys, bye bye.